and I'll just call it, well, we call it, not the shark, but the friction point. Like, this is what's going to bite me in the butt later if I don't like think about it right now. And I knew if I just jump in and use all of the enthusiasm I can muster and just even tell them the story about Joseph and the construction worker, that might happen. But I meet the boys on the first day. We start with a different piece of music. I look at them and I look at Henry, who has, he probably will never watch this video. That's okay. I just said his real name, but Henry, who is a fourth grader who has like his list of girlfriends that he's already had and the ones that he hopes to have, and he has to let all of the boys know every day, like, what a cool fourth grader he is. And I'm thinking, this piece is going to be a tough sell. So I go home that night and I think, I know, I'll find a different word for fairies, one that like is sort of Celtic sounding that nobody really knows what it means, and we can like talk about Celtic mythology. So I'm looking seriously, like 2-syllable word. Must rhyme. Actually, does it have to rhyme? Yeah, no, it doesn't have to rhyme. Fairies, it has to fit right in there before sing. It has to like mean the same thing but not be fairies. And then it occurs to me, I'm not the only person who knows this song. Like, somebody else is going to sing it and say, oh, no, it's not that word right there. It's supposed to be fairies. And that's going to be even worse than me teaching them the truth in the first place. So I'm like, that's not really going to work. But then, going back to the analysis, we often sort of arrive at, like, what is the essence of this piece? After you do all of your analysis, like, what makes this piece really great? And I thought, a piece isn't about fairies at all. This piece is about what? Magic. About, any other words? Flowers.
Is it really about
imagination?
Flowers?
Okay.
It's about flowers?
Yeah, on first glance, but white coral bells upon a slender stalk, lilies of the valley deck my garden walk. So far it's about flowers. Oh, don't you wish that you could hear them ring? That's where the imagination comes in. That will only happen when the fairies sing. So essentially the piece is about somebody noticing something and imagining something in it. The piece is about imagination. The piece is about magic. The piece is about the world that we can imagine inside of our brains. That is a concept I can sell to fourth grade boys. That's a concept I can sell to anybody, right? The concept of like, what happens in your brain. So the next day I asked them the question, do you ever notice something that nobody else has ever noticed before? And of course, the hands all shoot up because yes, one of the boys said, my baby brother has a shirt, and on his shirt there are wheelbarrows, and nobody else knows the bears. And it took me forever to figure out that what he actually said was his brother has a shirt, and on the shirt there's a pattern, and on the pattern there it's bears, and everybody else just thought it was a pattern, but he saw that there were bears in the pattern. Yep, I didn't get bears for a long time, but I still remember little Henry. So they started saying, when we're driving up north to Dork County, every time we pass this one tree, and on the tree, one branch looks like it makes an N. And, my name is Nathan, and so, like, I feel like it's my tree, but nobody else can see the N. And every time I'm like, there's the N tree, there's the N tree, and everybody else is like, where's the N tree? And, that day we were eating lunch together, because it's a day-long choir camp in the summer, and so we're eating lunch, and kids like, I noticed something nobody else noticed. It's the continent of Africa was in my apple. Like they're starting to see all kinds of things, like this is this shape, this is this shape. And so it's noticing not just the details of like how many bolts are right there or how many lights are right here, but like noticing things inside of something that nobody else sees. We looked at the book, Play With Your Food, that an artist has taken different food objects and they put little faces in them. They do whole scenes. You've got all of these like grouchy looking peppers and, oranges with little pea eyes that look spooky and everything like that. So we looked at just how can people create something out of regular objects that nobody else sees. And kind of how that's the point of being an artist, right? Is to like see something in it nobody else sees. And instead of just going by and saying, oh, there's the entry, you maybe write a poem about it, or you write a song about it, or you paint a picture of it, or you take a photograph of it that shows everybody sort of how do you see the world in your own unique way, and maybe somebody else is going to connect to that. Well, meanwhile, we have been now for 3 days singing these patterns, do, ti, la, so, mi, fa, la, so, fa, mi. In different games, I sometimes play Sing What I Write. I'm writing pitches down, they're singing while I do it. We've practiced sequence scales going up, doing do, mi, re, fa, mi, so, fa, la, and doing the whole sequence all the way up, and then me changing it a little bit. So now they've actually dictated both of these lines, and they've got the melody going. But on day 4 of 5, I passed out a little plastic, because they were dead at this time of year in August, but a little plastic lily of the valley. And I said, you know, the last piece we're going to be learning this week is about this flower, sort of. It's about somebody who saw this flower, but just like you guys are really good at seeing things inside of something else, they saw something else besides just a flower. Maybe you'll see the same thing, or maybe you'll see something different. We're going to pass this flower around the room in silence, and I just want you to think inside of your imagination, what do you see when you look at the flower? So very silently, the flower goes around the room, and everybody's sort of studying it. And it comes back to me. I'm like, okay, what did you see? And we hear, I saw the skirt of a girl. I saw a shower head. I saw water pipes. I saw light fixtures. I saw popcorn popping. I saw a little
bonnet.
hat. If you turn it upside down, it's like a wine goblet. And you know, like all of these different things. They also looked at books of like fairy houses and like miniatures, and were sort of fascinated with using natural objects to make things. And like, so you know, I wonder what this person saw. And of course, as we first looked at the text, what are they thinking? What did they see? What did they see? And so all of the focus was, what did they see when they saw the flower? So as we sang, white coral bells upon a slender stalk, lily of the valley, deck my garden walk. Oh, don't you wish that you could hear them ring? It was like gasp. Yeah, that's it. Like, it's bells, it's bells. That will only happen when the fairies sing. Like, they heard bells. There was no focus on like what I thought would just be the big distraction. No focus on this friction point at all, right? Like the friction point was taken care of because I distracted them into thinking about like what is actually the heart of the piece. Like what really matters in this piece. And that is one way of sort of introducing the piece and taking care of the friction point. I draw this up here because I'm not thinking everybody should do white coral bells and use the same strategy, but you're going to have some piece where there's something that can bite you in the butt if you're not careful, like something that is going to be like, we can't say that word without everybody laughing, or we can't, you know, everybody is going to be just distracted by this title, and deciding you could either address this head on, we'll talk about that in a minute, or you can just decide, like, I'm going to really just distract from this by really focusing on getting the kids to really think about what is the heart of this piece and that was my first strategy.